Okay, y'all. This is part two to the sermon recap, right? So, picking back up now, let's. He took us into Jonah a little bit, so keep this verse in mind, right? God, verse 17 in Psalms 139, right? God, how precious your thoughts are to me, how vast their sum is, right? If I could count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I wake up, I am still with you, right? Keep that verse in mind, right? So we go to Jonah. Let's read verse 1. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Okay, the word of the Lord, right? He said the word of the Lord came to Jonah, right? Guys, we're not realizing how good our life is, y'all. He says the word of the Lord came to Jonah. Guys, we can go to the Lord anytime, right? We can go to the Lord right here, right now, right? We could jump in scriptures right now. We're battling with something right now. We can jump in scriptures right now, right? Because we can know how good our God is, right? And how he's going to provide for us right now, in the future, or whatever it is. And you can see how he provided for you in the past, right? How he brought you to Christ, right? The word is here, right? Or going to church and getting the word, right? That the word came to us. We come to the word, right? So let's take time to acknowledge that, right? That is a blessing, right? That we have, right? When we get problems, right? We know we can come to the word, right? From when we're going through struggles, right? We can come to certain family members, certain friends, right? When they're struggling, right? We can come to the word. Let's have our spirits combine, right? When two or more one are gathered together, right? The presence of the Lord is established, right? Now, I'm pretty sure it's Matthew 8, verse 20, right? And so just acknowledge that, right? And so then we go into, it was verse 6, right? He says here, let's read verses 4 through 4 and 5 before we get to 6 before I make the connection, right? So verse 4 says, but the Lord threw a great wind onto the sea, and such a great storm arose on the sea that the ship threatened to break apart. The Lord's sailors were afraid, and each cried out to his God, and they threw the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten the load. Meanwhile, Jonah had gone down to the lowest part of the vessel, right, and had stretched out and fallen into the deep sleep, right? Number 6, all right, verse 6, it says, the captain approached him and said, what are you doing? Sound asleep. Get up. Call to your God. Maybe this God will consider us, right? Maybe like a God thought. He's saying we should have God thoughts, right? And that should be coming to praying for some God thoughts. We need to pray for God thoughts today.